Hello and welcome to the Federal. On December 9, BJP MP Kirodi Meena introduced a private members bill in the Rajya Sabha. This paved the way for a uniform civil code and its implementation in India, despite protests by the opposition. The UCC is a codified law to govern civil issues of marriage, divorce, and inheritance, irrespective of citizens' religion and caste. The BJP argues that the UCC is a prerequisite for uniting the country, while critics firmly believe that such a law would be divisive. My colleague and senior political journalist Puneet Nicholas Yadav has written about this in detail for the Federal's latest eighth column story. You can scan the barcode popping up on your screens right now to read more on this story. I'm Jarida, and Puneet is joining me today to give us more insights on the Uniform Civil Code. Thank you for joining us, Puneet.
Thank you.
So, a private members bill demanding a uniform civil code was introduced recently in the Rajya Sabha. So, how significant is this development given the controversial nature of the UCC?
There are a few strands that are linked to this. One, it's been introduced as a private members bill, which means it's not a legislation brought by the government, but by an individual MP. What is significant, however, is that it's been brought by a BJP MP, so naturally a member of the ruling party. Secondly, it's an issue which has been a long-standing agenda of the BJP. So there is a general assumption that it has been done by the backing of the government, and perhaps he's been put up to bring this as a private members bill to kind of get a sense of the house, how to go about it, and it's been introduced. In the past, the same MP, Mr. Kirodi Meena, had listed this bill as a private members bill for introduction on at least half a dozen occasions that I personally recall, but he had never actually moved for its introduction. This is the first time that he's moved for its introduction, and it was through a vote in the House. It was passed largely also because there was hardly anybody from the opposition present. There was, most of the opposition benches were empty. There was a lot of protest, but from the few who were there. But eventually, it was introduced. Now, what remains, whether it's taken up for discussion, see, for a private member's bill to be passed, and it's very rarely that a private member's bill is passed in Parliament. In my memory, I believe there have been only 13 or 14 such instances. The last one, I think, was in 1960, around 1960 or in the 60s, when a private member's bill was passed by Parliament, because it needs the full support of the government. So to be passed by Parliament. Now, why is there a furor over this? Is because it is a very, very controversial, even the thought of it, forget a legislation, even the thought of a uniform civil code is very polarizing, it's very controversial, and that is largely because of the ambit of things that one, that would come under it. And the fear is that because you have a Hindu majoritarian government of the BJP, so to speak, uh, the implications are that you will have uh, a law which is extremely lopsided in favor of the Hindus, but which all other religious minorities and caste denominations who do not follow the standard practice under Hindu law, or what is called the Hindu code, will have to adopt to those procedures, irrespective of their own personal laws, which are basically laws based on religious doctrines, cultural traditions, customary practices, etc. So that is why you have this whole furor. But it is significant that a private member's bill has been introduced. We'll have to wait and see what comes of it eventually, whether the government, goes ahead and supports its passage in Parliament, because it will have to then also be moved similarly moved in Lok Sabha. But the other aspect of it also is that it is happening at a time when the BJP in all state elections has been promising a uniform civil code, and efforts to bring it in through the states, in the states where the BJP is in power, have already begun. In Uttarakhand, they had promised a uniform civil code during the election. After they won the election in Uttarakhand, the BJP government that is now in power in Uttarakhand has set up a committee which is already in the process of inviting suggestions to the law, to the proposed law. They've done the same thing in Gujarat, where they are again in power, and a committee is likely to be set up. So the sense that critics of the UCC have is that because the states also have a power to legislate a UCC, since it's a matter, a subject in the concurrent list, the BJP is starting with the states, and a central law, a pan-India law passed through Parliament will be a natural corollary to this, which the BJP will try to bulldoze through Parliament eventually. So that is where things stand with the UCC right now, and which is why this private members bill is particularly significant.
Okay. So if we look at the past, there has been a lot of resistance over the years, even to the idea of discussing the UCC, let alone legislating it. So why do you think there has always been such stiff resistance to UCC?
The long and short of it basically is uh, the fear of a legislation which favors the majority of the Hindu community to be imposed on religious minorities and on different people who may not, who may, in the BJP scheme of things, be part of the larger Hindu, a monolithic Hindu structure, but may not in practice follow all those practices which, say, a Hindu or particularly a North Indian Hindu follows. Now, what one needs to understand what really is a UCC, right? The Uniform Civil Code basically means a, a law which is similar in nature, dealing with the issues of civil issues of marriage, inheritance, maintenance, and divorce related subjects. So the fear is that once the UCC comes in, all personal laws related to different, say the Muslim personal law, in which these four subjects that I listed are dealt in a particular manner, or the Anand Marriage Act for the Sikhs, in which there are certain provisions which are different from the Hindu Marriage Act of 1955, or customary practices in among the tribals, especially in the northeast, or in, say, the states like Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, etc., or even in matrilineal societies of, say, the Nayars and the Bunts in Karnataka, or different matrilineal societies in the Northeast, will have to give up their customary traditions, their customary laws, their personal laws, and follow what uh, you know is being imposed on them through a uniform civil code. So that is the principal fear, and that fear also is because of the fact that the BJP is a party of that follows a particular ideology, a particular brand of politics with regard to majoritarian Hindutva, and so it's natural for people who do not subscribe to that ideology, or people from other religious minorities, to have these fears about a uniform civil code, and which is why it is such a polarizing idea, not just in law, but also in terms of simply the idea of a uniform civil code.
So thank you so much for explaining all those to us in detail, Punit. I hope it would have been an insightful discussion for our viewers. Please scan the barcode to read more on this, and do subscribe to the Federal's YouTube channel for more such interesting insights and updates. Thank you.